Working on some maintenance for my Nissan Frontier Pro-4X. It's a 2020. We're at about the 30,000 mile range. So we're going to work on the rear diff fluid. Make sure you start with loosening the fill plug before you loosen the drain plug. These will both be a 3/8 inch drive. Fluid looks pretty good. Doesn't look too dirty or milky. I've done a couple 100 miles maybe of some moderate off-roading. Some stuff on the drain plug magnet, but not bad. Clean up the magnet and it should look a little bit like this. As you can see by this scuff, I do off-road a bit. Once the fluid stops draining, then you can put the plug back on. And for people who have done diff changes lately, you might have seen these squeeze bags. These squeeze bags are the way to go. Back in the day, you had to use a pump or something, tubes. Tighten everything up to about 30 foot-pounds, clean up, and then you're good to go. To do the transfer case, you'll probably need to take off the transfer case skid plate before you can access the drain and the fill. The fill is up there, drains over here, and also probably prevent a lot of mess because it'll probably collect on the skid plate. So take those off. There's the skid plate. They are 4 12mm bolts. You do not need to take them all out. 2 of them will be slotted in to the skid plate, as you can see here. So you just take off 2, leave the other 2 a little bit loosened, and then you can slide the skid plate off. Then you'll have clear access to the drain and fill for the transfer case. Those should be 18mm bolts. A lot of talk about what fluid to use for the transfer case. I decided to go with this. The spec calls for Nissan D3M fluid. People just seem to think that it's just a conventional transmission fluid. Just loosen the 2 18mm bolts. That one up there is the fill. The one down there is the drain. Transfer case fluid exploded, but it looked really good. So I've made a huge mess here. Unfortunately, they don't make these in a squeeze bag. At least I couldn't find it. So I had to use one of these pumps, of course. Waiting for the fill to go to a slow drip, and then I'll seal that up. All right, we are now up to the front diff, and you'll need to take off the engine oil skid plate for this. Again, 12mm bolts to remove the skid plate. So the skid plate is off. There's the front diff. There's the fill. We'll get to 10mm hex. Alright, so both the drain and fill were really tight. So watch out for that. Here's the driver's side, that's the drain. The passenger side's already loosened. There's the front diff fluid. Well, as a lot of folks have said, the front diff plug is often filled with chunks, and yeah, so quite a lot on this front drain plug magnet. And again, once the drain slows down to a slow trickle, then you can probably bolt that back up. So I put the drain plug back on. Now I'm on the fill side again. Both drain and fill plugs have a small washer on them, so you can replace it if you want. I just flipped it around. I'm going to use the squeeze bag of for front diff oil. So now I used the whole bag. Should be about right. I'm not going to get another one. I think it's like 800 milliliters or so. Tightened up the fill. Now I'm going to put the skid plate back on.